What's the tense?
Present tense.
Okay, it's present.
Middle.
Okay. Middle voice.
And then imperative.
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 Second person plural.
Okay. Second person plural. Okay. It's in the present tense. Now. It's in the middle voice. You do it yourself. For yourself. To yourself. That's the correct understanding of the middle voice. It's something you're doing for yourself. It's imperative. Command. Non-negotiable. Okay? Second person.
Yeah. And then
You, all.
y'all.
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 Because it's plural.
Use guys.
Yeah, use guys. If it were singular, what would it be?
You.
You. You. Not you all. I'm just talking to Debbie Ball right now. So, you all. Now look where this comes into play. Look how important this is to understand. We are to...
Well, and the may in front of this makes it a not.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay.
Very good. Forgot the not. We are to not conform. When are we to do that? Now. At present, do not conform. Okay, that's why your Bible says be conformed. Okay. Middle voice, though, tells us, you yourself do not conform yourself to this world. It's an imperative, it's a command. Do not conform yourself to this world. Who's he talking to? I'm talking to all of you guys. Do not conform yourself to this world. Very impressive.
Now, what would be
That's
the
belief.
difference between this present imperative and the aorist imperative? This is like a condition. Do not continually be conformed.
Yes.
In other words, do not. And the other one's, at one particular point, do not.
Right. This falls more in line with what we said about living the life. In other words, at no point in your life are you to be conformed. Do not conform yourself. The aorist would be a punctiliar action, which means that you would not conform yourself one time, but the habit of not conforming yourself would then spring from that one time and continue on. Well, since conformity exists in a realm where there's tons of things that will attract you and you can conform to, you can't speak of it really in that punctiliar sense. You see what I mean? Because every day something new pops up. We're to be on our guard not to conform ourselves to the world in which we live. There's really no way you can understand that in an aorist tense. Because that would imply that you didn't conform one time and then you're not conforming. It would be true if there was only one thing in your life that you were subject to be conformed to. I don't know what that one thing would be. Let's say it's, I don't know. I don't want to appear legalistic, so I don't want to say anything. But let's say there's one thing in your life you don't want to be conformed to. In the aorist tense, that would be perfectly appropriate. If Paul were saying, there's this one thing that you need to not conform to. You could do that punctiliarly, and then it could take you a while to get to the point where you don't conform. You can't do this punctiliarly because as soon as you not conform to one thing, something else pops its head up
So it'd
the
be
next
do not
day.
be conformed to a pattern of adultery.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, do not be conformed to anything in this world.
Oh, okay.
If you use the punctiliar, you could use adultery. That's a good example. Do not be conformed to adultery. Okay, I've resolved punctiliarly, one point in time action, that I'm not going to be resolved or not going to be resigned to adultery or inclined to adultery ever again. Now the aorist comes in where I've done that commitment one time, but it may take a while for that to actually take effect. It may be an ongoing thing that I struggle with until I reach glory. That's the aorist tense. Since there's more than one thing, it's impossible to commit punctiliarly to something. Because as soon as you do, something else pops up in your life. You see what I'm saying? That's why they don't interpret that. Remember, this is the Greek translation. They're not interpreting that in that way because of the.
You know, we've never heard you whenever you bring out the aorist imperative. I've never heard you bring up a present imperative. So I was just kind of curious what the big difference with those are.
I don't know that I've ever. Yeah, I don't know that I've. We speak about present imperatives though.
Well,
we just don't define it. When
I guess maybe maybe as a present imperative. But I often hear y'all talk about this is in the aorist imperative.
Ken, wouldn't you agree with that? If it's in the aorist imperative, it's usually talking about one thing that you're not to be doing.
Exactly. It's an aorist imperative is don't do this ever.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Ever. The aorist prohibition of the aorist subjunctive of prohibition is the same way. It's really the prohibition. That's an imperative. But the aorist subjunctive of prohibition is like when Paul said, should we sin the more that grace may abound? He was referring to one thing: sin. Don't do that. You can do that punctiliarly. That follows in line with the aorist tense perfectly. Because you can make a commitment not to sin. It's kind of a catch-all.
Right.
But it's going to take forever for that commitment to
That's why the aorist as well is not only point action past time, but it also denotes or connotes the kind of action.
Right, because that sounds like, that in that particular case, do not sin for the purpose of hoping that grace would abound.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas this is talking about conformity to whatever would entrap you.
Broad.
Yeah, because what might entrap me might not entrap you. We don't have the same proclivities. You might be tempted by something that I don't have any interest in. Well, the wrong way. Okay, is that clear? What about the next one? Now this is where it gets interesting. What about this one? Metamorphose.
Italian.
Yeah, I like it on my pizza. Give me a little extra metamorphose.